Madam Moderator, pricing for works has become very difficult in the past few years, and one has to be really careful in the way he or she builds up a price for any works. A lot of businesses across all industries are facing an immense problem on how to sustain a profit-making business in this kind of inflationary environment our country is going through. Our industry, the construction industry, has not been spared at all. And in fact, I would say it is the one industry that is suffering the most, and contractors are the ones feeling the worst effects. Contractors like myself should now start changing our approach in the way we build up prices for new works. Now, going back to your question, Madam Moderator, pricing of work has indeed become a big challenge to us contractors. And this is mostly due to the ever-changing prices of building materials from our suppliers. Most of our suppliers, and if not all, are offering a validity period of 1 day on their quotations. Whereas most of the projects that we've been tendering for, we are being requested to maintain our prices for 60, 120 days, and sometimes even up to 180 days. This, Madam Moderator, calls for a total different approach on how we price our works. We need to start factoring in allowances to protect ourselves from potential losses due to increase in prices of building materials. Now, in every challenge, Madam Moderator, one has to start thinking, differently if you are to survive in whatever business that you're doing, especially, this business that we are in as a contractor. Our construction company, Madam Moderator, we've taken steps to implement strategies to maintain our business while achieving a reasonable profit. We've actually decided not to bid for any jobs without carefully analyzing the project. The project has to tick all boxes before we actually, decide to tender for it. The first thing, Madam Speaker, we need to first find out who the client is on the particular job that we have to tender for. And is it a private client? Is it government? And if it's government, is the project well funded or is it donor funded? Secondly, we have to look at the terms and conditions of contract. Is there a price escalation clause that will allow us to adjust the contract price? And lastly, what type of materials are we going to be dealing with? Are they going to be locally sourced or are they going to be sourced outside the country? Well, these are just some of the factors influencing our pricing. And if you don't get that right, then you're in for some problems. So, Madam Moderator, to answer your question, yes, there are several challenges, but the most challenging ones are the ever-changing prices of building materials, as this poses a great challenge on how to come up with a percentage to cover yourself from potential losses. The second one, Madam Moderator, it's how do we price for items that we have to source from outside the country? The challenge is that, Madam Moderator, comes in the exchange rate. What exchange rate are you going to use? Are you going to use the official bank exchange rate? Now, if you use the official bank rate, are you sure that at the time you're paying for the items, you'll be able to get Forex? If you're using the parallel market, exchange rate from the parallel market, what exchange rate are you going to use? Because this rate keeps on changing on a daily basis, making it very, very difficult for a contractor like myself to price for any work. Now that, Madam Moderator, is what we're being challenged with. And we're still trying to find better ways on how we hedge ourselves against potential losses on various projects. That, Madam Moderator, is what we're really finding it difficult, to price. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, yes, it does. Thank you. And so in view of these challenges that you're facing, and I think in Mr. Town's presentation, he mentioned something about how contractors should not be entering fixed contracts. So where contractors have found themselves in this position where they've entered in a fixed contract, and yet they're facing these challenges that you're mentioning, how would you advise them to deal with such a situation?
Madam Moderator, fixed contracts are always a big challenge, whether they're fixed in local currency or in a foreign currency. In this inflationary environment, it is very, very risky for a contractor to go into a contract that is fixed. As QS Tawana said, contractors should really be advised not to get themselves in a contract like that. But in today's Malawi, where there are too many contractors with very little number of projects on the market, you find yourself bidding for such kind of projects. We've done it, and we've now find ways on how we manage the contracts. It hasn't been easy, but it is what it is, and we have to go through that. Now, fixed contracts can either be fixed in kwaches or in any hard currency, either US dollars or euros. And I know most people think that signing a contract in foreign currency is the best way to hedge yourself against potential losses due to the price increases of materials. This, Madam Moderator, unfortunately is not true in some cases. It might be true in some cases, but in some, it's not. I'll give you an example. In 2019, we were awarded a certain project that was pegged to the euro, and we're very happy as a business to have secured a contract like that. However, during the performance of the contract, things didn't go according to plan, and we wished if we had never signed such a contract. The following year of 2019, prices of materials went up in dollar terms from where the materials were sourced. For instance, the price of steel went up 3 times. This was due to so many factors. But the fact is, we had signed a contract that was in euro, and there was no way we were going to get any price adjustments. And at the same time, the price of steel had tripled, and it was quite a big loss to the company. Now, going back to your question, Madam Moderator, how do we deal with fixed contracts during bidding? In any business, Madam Moderator, one is expected to make a profit, or at least some reasonable profit. Now, when bidding for projects with fixed contracts, one has to think of ways on how to hedge against potential losses due to the increase of prices of materials. Construction projects can last from 1 year to several years. We've experienced that. If contracts that have been running for 3, 4 years, even more than that. And you have to find a way on how you hedge yourself against potential losses due to that if you've signed a fixed contract. So basically, when you're signing in a contract like that, you must really factor in an amount in your price that will cover you for potential losses due to the increases of materials. However, in this kind of inflationary environment our country is going through, it is very, very difficult to work out the right percentage that covers you in that type of a contract, Madam Moderator, because the prices of materials are going up every day, as I said before. So it's very difficult to find a good percentage, work out a good percentage that can cover you for that. However, to navigate through this challenge at our company, we've tried to minimize the risk of our profits being eroded. And what we've tried to do is, I think Mr. Kirsten has also touched on that. But what we've tried to do, we've looked at we've been looking at 3 things. First one is we've been negotiating with some of our clients for upfront payment of 50% all above. And these are always covered by a bank guarantee. And you remember in the first question, I did talk about the type of client that, you're dealing with. So one really has to, first look at, okay, what type of client are we, dealing with here? Is it going to be flexible for us to negotiate for an upfront payment? So those are things that one has to consider when you're signing up a contract like that. The second, thing that we've been doing, Madam Moderator, is we've also been negotiating with the same client if they're not, prepared to pay us a 50% upfront payment. We've been negotiating with them to see if they can make direct payments to our suppliers. That has happened, but again, the clients have been asking for a bank, guarantee, which we've been, providing. And if the two don't work, you still have to find a way on how you can, hedge yourself against the potential losses. So the last, thing that we've been doing, if the two, don't work, we've tried, to negotiate with some of our suppliers. Now, these are not just ordinary suppliers. These are suppliers that, you've got a long, relationship with. You've been dealing with for a long time in business. You can't just, walk to any supplier and start negotiating for anything. You must be negotiating with somebody that you've been dealing with for some time. So we've been negotiating with some of our suppliers for them to supply us crucial materials, mostly the kind of materials that whose prices will mostly, go up. And the suppliers, those materials, and we'll take them to the site. Some will keep them, in our store. And, in the very first, payment certificate, we claim for materials, on and off site. All that, we've been doing, it has also come to a point where we've seen that it's causing other problems. You see, on each, now these are problems to do with capacity. On point one, I'd say that you would negotiate with the client to see if they can make an upfront payment. So let's say you've succeeded and the client asks you for a bank, guarantee. You give a bank guarantee. You go to another project, the client says, okay, fine, we'll pay for the materials, but give us a bank guarantee. You give them a bank guarantee. Now you have to understand that, you've issued a bank guarantee at the time, you're signing the contract. That's, for your performance, guarantee. And you've got 2 or 3 or 5, projects. And if you find yourself in this kind of situation where you're issuing guarantees for performance, guarantees for procurement of materials, or guarantees for big upfront, payments, that eats into your facility with bank. Let's say you've got, a 2 billion, kwacha facility with a bank, and then all these guarantees are over, 3 billion. It means that in the next, few months, if there's going to be any job that you need to tender for, you can't even tender for that because you won't have capacity to submit a bid, security, because you'd have exhausted all your facilities with the banks. So it's a question of also capacity. You're trying to solve one problem, but you're creating, another problem. So, Madam Moderator, those are the challenges that we as a building contractor have been, facing on fixed, contracts. I hope, that, answers, your question, Madam Moderator.